Hi guys, it's Megan from imamom2.wordpress.com. So I am so excited to be part of Reno My Life. I don't know how to explain it other than that. My girlfriend Christella has a fantastic blog. She's like blogger extraordinaire. She has 10 million blogs actually. But one in particular, and I will link it below, is called Reno My Life. And she has just gone through this massive transformation over the last few months and has shared that transformation in her Reno My Life blog. And a couple days ago she asked if anybody would be willing to share their way that they are renoing their life. And honestly, I hummed and hawed about it. And I was like, you know, people always ask me how I manage the kids over the summer, okay? Because there's a problem here in town. I don't know how to say it other than it's a problem. In order for my son to go to camp, he needs a one-on-one helper, okay? Because he has autism. And the problem is that the deadlines to be able to apply for funding and allocations for one-on-one helpers at camp, the deadline for that is before the summer camp information is released. You can kind of see the problem here. In fact, it's actually usually the deadline is around March break. So by then the summer information isn't out. So what I was thinking this summer was to actually compile all of the summer information that's happening this year so that then at least next year I have kind of approximate dates and costs to be able to kind of factor in to an application for funding, because I want him to have a summer camp experience as well. Just because he has autism doesn't mean that he doesn't get to go to camp too. It may mean that he has to go to a specialized camp of some kind that will be able to support his special needs, but that doesn't mean he doesn't get to go to camp. I grew up going to camp. My parents are actually self-employed, and their busy time of year is the summer. So we went straight from school. Next week was day camp. And then once we got old enough, we would go away to a 2-week-long overnight camp, which I thought was just the best thing in the world. My brother didn't like it very much, but I loved it. And now I understand that, you know, my parents wanted a break. But, you know, that was just the norm that I grew up with. Well, I'm fortunate now that as a parent that I actually get to kind of create our summers, which is a lot of fun, but it can also be very tiring. But I also recognize that I get the break of when my kids go to their dads over the summer. So I was chatting with Christella, asking, you know, do you think people would be interested? Because this year I kind of feel like I'm getting my mojo together. I don't know how to explain it other than that. But, you know, last year was the first year that my son was actually home over the summer for 3 summers, because he was in IBI therapy, which is intensive behavioral intervention therapy. 4 days a week, 9 to 3 of specialized therapy for autism. So he wasn't home. My daughter was going to a day camp, and so kind of my routine just kept on going as if it was school time. Last year I felt a little overwhelmed with having him home over the summer, because I wanted to make sure that I'm still, you know, because he finished IBI therapy March of 2014. So that meant last summer he was actually home the whole summer, and I wanted to keep his brain going. I wanted to keep the socialization going, and it almost felt like every day I was trying to come up with something. So this year I'm kind of feeling a little bit more organized, not from the standpoint of the kids being in camp, because my daughter decided she did not want to go back to the same camp again. Last year she did not like it. The first year she loved it. But it's a literacy camp here in town, and she has issues with literacy, and she did not appreciate being told while she's at camp, which is supposed to be really, really fun, to sit down and read. I mean, that wasn't the only thing that they did. They also had sports and activities and, you know, regular camp stuff. But for her, you need to hide the literacy aspect. So I was chatting with Christella and asking, you know, do you think people would like to see how I'm renoing our lives to be more organized with how we're kind of doing everything for summer, in that things are planned beforehand, while also having them maintain a journal throughout the summer, whether that means that they're, you know, drawing or writing, hopefully writing to keep her literacy going. You know, and we're going to have kind of these activities that are created throughout the summer. So I've kind of got all of my paperwork, I guess, figured out to be able to do that. As always, I have, well, not always, but the last 3 years I've published on my blog a summer activities list, so I will link that below as well. But I'm just kind of, I'm going into the summer feeling less stressed about what I'm going to be doing with the kids when they're home, because they are at their dad's for 4 non-consecutive weeks over the summer. But they're, you know, I'm feeling good about it. And my daughter wants to kind of learn how we're doing all this stuff and how I organize it all. And there's some key things that she also wants to learn that are kind of life skills throughout the summer. So I just wanted to share that journey with you. And I will actually also link below, because we are doing kind of what we're calling a summer advent calendar. So I will be publishing, or you know, uploading every week what that calendar looks like for the week as well. So I'd love for you to like, comment, and subscribe to both this channel and also Reno My Life's channel, and kind of watch how we're renoing our activities, I guess. I'm not really sure what aspect to call this, but how we're going to be renoing our summer, to kind of make it more fun for the kids and more interactive. And I do also have some goals that I want to set with the kids, and specifically the big one is for me to be more present with them. And that could be even as simple as, like, the last couple days when I'm making meals, I don't have the radio on. So I can actually hear them singing or playing or, you know, talking to each other in the other room, and I can be interacting with them. So I feel like I'm being more present with making the food. I'm being more present with hearing what is coming out of their amazing brains. And I also want to follow more of their lead this summer, like the advent calendar. The summer advent calendar is my daughter's creation. She was the one that wanted to do it, so I've made it happen. She's so creative that way. It's amazing to me. And the third one is kind of, I always try to make this happen. I always try to create downtime so that we don't overschedule everything. Because if we overschedule everything, my son is going to have so many behaviors that it's just not worth it. So, you know, if we are to do a day trip somewhere, the next day we're going to have very quiet activities to be able to do at home, and probably, frankly, a lot of iPad time to be able to help him calm down, because that's his calming space. Throughout the summer, I want to be able to read more, but I'm going to make it very, like, not purposeful, if that makes sense. I have the full purpose of reading, but I'm not going to say, okay, we have to read for 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to make it much more fluid than that, and not make it so stressful, especially for my daughter. I'm looking down because I actually have them in my notes here. I want to explore more over the summer. I want the kids to really be leading our exploration. So some of the things that I've got on my activities list is to, create a park passport, to be able to discover different parks, and I want to follow the kids while they are exploring around that new park, so that then they can show me what they are interested in, and I can capitalize on that in some way, shape, or form. And as I, have kind of moved or shifted our way of being over the last few years, is to be more about experiences and being part of each other's lives rather than things and items, because frankly I don't want to organize those things. I don't want to declutter them. I don't want to spend my time figuring out how to keep everything in our house. I want us to have rich experiences, and I'm not talking experiences where we just go out and spend hundreds of dollars to be able to spend one day. I'm talking about little things like I just mentioned, with going to a brand new park and seeing where the kids gravitate for that day. It may not sound like much, but I want to be able to notice what my kids are doing and how they're exploring and interacting with the world. Because my son's autism, if no other lesson, has taught me to slow down. Because if I don't slow down, I don't get to see into his mind, and his mind is absolutely fascinating, but he can't tell me about it. So it's my job to actually learn through him and through his actions. So we're kind of all about experiences now, whether they're big or small, but that's kind of what we're focusing on. But over the summer, my big thing to be with the kids is to just be more present. So follow along as we reno our lives this summer. Okay, talk to you guys soon. Bye.